Hey guys, welcome to the Touchdown Table. I'm Ryan, that's Tyler, that's Jordan. You're going to be watching a clip from our live stream, and it is here for you right now.
Yeah, so I think we could probably start with the news of today.
Absolutely.
I would believe.
As we have.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this leaving
first
church.
college.
I saw it leaving church today, and I thought, okay, this is gonna be a great thing to start our live stream off with, and here we are right now. So if you don't know, you've been living under a rock for the last 10 hours at this point. It's been out. Around then, maybe a little less than that.
It was like already 2 hours old when I woke up. I don't know.
Yeah. So Julio Jones officially now traded to the Tennessee Titans. That is big news, clearly. Jordan's grabbing his water. But, I mean, now just to think of that offense they have there, I mean, we've made jokes on our podcast and YouTube channel as well. They're talking about how big these guys are on this team, talking about A.J. Brown and especially Derrick Henry, who's been the butt of the joke that we've had here. Now adding Julio Jones to that, it's going to be very difficult to stop the offense. It already was. And even now in a weaker division with the Colts being the only team that has a chance to rival them, Julio Jones makes a big impact and makes him a potential Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I, saw the news, I had to scroll and make sure, like, okay, is this actually real or is this just another Photoshop? It turns out it was real. We'll get into the details of the trade first. And something that I really think that is just kind of instinctive to do when a trade happens is always say, okay, well, who won? But with this trade, again, like the Sam Darnold trade, I really think when you look at the situations of both of those teams, it makes sense. The Falcons were ready to move on from him. They're heading towards a rebuild. They need to shed some cap, need to be able to sign more young players. Yeah, Julio Jones can still contribute, but I really think Falcons understand that, hey, we've been going downhill these past few years. We're going to be headed towards rebuild. Probably want to get some more cap space open, more draft capital to get either younger guys or maybe trade up in a future draft to trade up for a future, franchise quarterback in 2022. Maybe is the year that they go for a quarterback, someone like, I don't know, Spencer Rattler or Sam Howell. A little too early to be talking about that. And for the Titans, they think they can contend. They've been a playoff team these past few years. They've gotten better. And they feel like Julio Jones could be a player that takes their offense to new heights. So I really think it mutually benefits both sides. And for the Titans, I think it'll be interesting to see what their offense looks like with Arthur Smith leaving to become the head coach of, kind of ironically, the Falcons. New offensive coordinator. Now you got Julio Jones. So when you think of the Titans offense, you think smash mouth, run, Derrick Henry, 40 carries. I still think Derrick Henry is going to do great things, but in terms of, pass run ratio, I do think we could see Tennessee start to throw the ball more in 2021 than they did in previous years, just because of the guys they got to throw to.
Yeah, I mean, this Tennessee offense is going to be something that is going to be scary. Any defense going up against it will certainly have their hands full, to say the least. Now, the defense, that's going to be a bit lacking, losing some players.
Yeah, they lost like 3 corners.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough on them. But there are obviously teams that are led by their offense, and I think they can do it. I like a lot of people on this team, on this offense specifically. And so, hey, it's going to be fun. We had the Patriots and the Titans basically were the two we were just trying to decide between for this trade. And I said Patriots just didn't make sense logistically. So if anything, it would be the Titans. And I guess I was kind of right on that one. So it did end up being the Titans. And I think it's a great fit. We know A.J. Brown, I don't even know how to say it. He wore Julio Jones's jersey in warm-ups last year when they were playing the Falcons to kind of pay respect to him. So that was kind of cool. And now they're on the same team, and I believe Julio is going to be 8 since AJ is 11, unless he wants to hand over that number.
I just saw something recently. It was like AJ Brown on a podcast saying that he was going to give up 11.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a sign of respect. I mean, he looked up to Julio Jones clearly, so kind of a sign of, hey, maybe he had some say in where he was traded to. I think he's probably AJ Brown saying, hey, you came here, you're going to take us to new heights. You're a veteran. I look up to you. I respect you. That's why I wanted you here. So it could kind of be just a message of respect. But yeah, I mean, who really cares about like the numbers? I think that the point is these two guys on the same field. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be exciting. And I mentioned earlier how it might change kind of the way they run things on offense. Last year, the Titans ran the ball 51.8% of the time and passed the ball 48.2% of the time. That's the third highest run percent of any team in the league in 2020. So I think just with a new offensive coordinator with Julio Jones in there, we could start to see some more passing. I don't think it's going to shift that much. I just think maybe that flips a bit. Maybe they pass the ball a little more. And I just think that's kind of the direction their offense wants to wants to head. I think they want to be able to beat you in multiple ways because Derrick Henry is great, but especially when you're playing these back and forth games where there's lots of offensive possessions and it's just crazy and lots of big plays. It could get tiring even for a workhorse running back. So I think now that the Titans have more ways to attack you on offense, getting a guy like Julio Jones and AJ Brown, I think by himself is just getting into his prime. I think AJ Brown still might be the number one receiver on that team in 2021, and that's no slight to Julio. That's just kind of because of where AJ Brown is in his career right now, kind of just reaching his peak, while Julio Jones can still contribute at a high level, but is probably it's probably a fairly common belief around the league that Julio Jones's best days are behind him. So I think the Titans will still be able to beat you with the run game. They're not going to move away from that completely. I just think that they might pass the ball a little more this year than they did in 2020, which was clearly a lot third most in the league.
Yeah.
They ran the ball third most in the
Good
league.
point by you. We'll jump back into Julio Jones stuff in just a second.
With that, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.